Hi everyone, welcome to my HydraKuna build T1-T4 today. If you're here, I assume that you're already level 60, maybe you followed this guide, my leveling guide from 1 to 60. I also have a video that I got out during my live, like 6 hours through the season, that explained to you how to transition to this build to the T1-T4. It can be a little bit tricky to find those unique and make the transition, so there's the video that you can find that help you. So the HydraKuna T1-T4 is a direct damage build. I don't have a dot build yet for Hydra. I believe that every other content creator went on damage over time. When I got the patch note out, I'd start to feel recraft on Hydra, and I noticed that direct damage was way better for like 95% of the content, because the problem with dot damage is you're not gonna go as fast because you have to wait for the damage to ramp up, and the advantage of direct damage is they just almost get one shot and you can just go very fast, and I think that's what we're looking for during our journey, slaying monster very fast. I might have a dot build for pit pushing. It might be the best with the new Horadric power with the Tyrant's Bane, I believe. It's called like this, that every second that enemy take damage over time, they take more damage from you. From my calculation, that can be very good for the boss, but for the moment, I don't have it on the guide yet. I still need to theory craft the pit pushing of the version, so stay tuned for that. So in this video today, I'm gonna cover the T1-T4. I'm gonna explain, like I got many questions about why do we use Isle of Verglass, why actual conduit. I started to make an FAQ here. I will complete that as soon as I get more questions. I'll try to complete that. I do think that this build not gonna change much anymore. I'm pretty done with this build. I'm now working on the final version of HydraKuna, the Endgame one. But yeah, so I decided to cover this video. So if there are any small changes, it's not gonna be something huge. So you won't need to make the change. If you follow this build, everything will be working. Like, you don't have to worry about that, and you should focus on working toward this version. First of all, the mythic order on this build. Many people ask me that. I recommend to start with Shroud if you can, then Starless Sky, then Harlequin Crest before you switch to the final version. But that's the order that I recommend for this build. So I will do a little showcase on the pits. We use Elixir of Resourcefulness, Intelligence 1. I believe in this version, with the Legendary Chest, we use the Life one and Soothing Spice. That way, as you can see, I have Armor Cap. I have Resistances Cap. We will cover the Paragon later, but you might have to make some changes, like to get more defensive note. Like here you got resistance to all elements. You might have to take this too, but yeah, that's very it depends on, for every setup, it depends for people. So yeah, let's do a quick pits 79. I have the T1-T4 build with all the item right now. So what you're gonna do is pressing hold this 3 skill, Ice Armor, Lightning Spear and Ice Blade as soon as you can. Then you're just gonna walk and press Hydra. You can press Ice Shard if you need. Like, if the monster doesn't melt instantly, pressing Ice Shard gonna increase your damage. I'm gonna explain that in the full setup right after the showcase here that we're doing. But yeah, very important. As you can see, when you press Hydra, your Ice Armor here, like the cooldown, is refreshing almost instantly. That way, even when you have 2 Hydra up, I advise you to press Hydra again if you have maximum mana to refresh your Ice Armor faster. And yeah, in this pit, obviously, they are pretty weak. You don't have to press Ice Shards. But you might have to press Ice Shard. Also have Teleport Enchants, because I believe having more mobility is better than having Hydra Enchant. The problem with Hydra Enchant is that your new amulets are gonna work with Hydra Enchant, but I don't think the aspect of Serpentine that I have on my wand here, here, that's gonna count for Hydra. And the problem with Hydra enchant is that also the extra heads that you get from the tempering here doesn't count on Hydra enchant. You always have 5 heads. Having 5 heads means a lot less damage. That way I don't think Hydra enchant is very useful. I just use it in the boss killer setup because there is really nothing else put in there. But otherwise I don't think it's a good enchant or a good solution at all. But yeah, as you can see, everything just melts easily. I don't even have to press Eye Shard. Press Eye Shard if you don't have all the gear yet. If you need that extra damage. I will use the Eye Shard on the boss though. As you can see here on the boss, we're gonna press everything. Press Hydra and then I'm gonna spam my Eye Shard here. And he should melt. Press Hydra, refresh my my ice armor, and yeah. It's done, he's dead. We are also a bit into the season, so I have my glyph level 100s. You might not be as strong, but you should be able to do 79, 69, 59, like just do the pits that you can do quick like this. Should be around 2 or 3 minutes to be efficient. But yeah, just go at your own rhythm. You don't need to race and try to progress slowly but surely. So I'm gonna show you the full setup here. I'm gonna try to explain everything. Like I got questioned like why do you always have the wolf up following you and stuff like this. So I'm gonna cover all of this here in the training ground. So first of all, we're gonna check the gear. We're gonna start with the gear. I use High of Verglass. Why we use High of Verglass is because every time you cast Eye Shard on the target, you're gonna deal more damage to them thanks to this helm. That's why I have Eye Shard on my skill bar. The only reason for that is because when you have 2 Hydra up, there is nothing like you don't really have to do anything. You just have to press your first 3 skill here. But when your 2 Hydra are up, you can either run around or cast like Eye Shards, increase the damage, and I believe it's more optimal to cast Eye Shard if the damage is needed. But in the pit that I showed, it was not needed, so it's only here for the boss. But if you don't have like very good gear, it's very useful to cast it. So that's why Heart of Verglass. The GA priority gonna be first intelligence, then attack speed, then cooldown for this version at least. For the other version it might be a bit different, but on this one you want to prioritize intelligence, attack speed, cooldown. As you can see, I got non-GA at all, not even ancestral, it doesn't matter. Still very strong build. And trying to have 100% like the legendary affix is very important. That's like why we use this helm. On the rune I'm using Nagu and Se. So the thing is, with Cosmic Anomaly, it's always gonna proc your wall because it counts as conjuration, summon. So the wall gonna be proc always by Nagu because I have summon up with Cosmic Anomaly. That's why I always have the wolf up, and I should have 8. I should have 8 up because 6, sorry. I should have 6 up because it overflow. So yeah, that's why I use this rune. Nagu is very rare. If you don't have it, I think we are using Seer. But if you find Nagu, try to use Nagu. It's very quality of life. It's also synergized with your primordial binding rank in the skill tree here. This is very important. That allows you to handle your mana regeneration. That can be a little bit tricky when you don't have a lot of gear. So yeah, this helm very important, the rune very important. If you don't have Nagu, you use Seer. But yeah, then legendary chests. I'm using a regular chest, trying to get 1 GA on intelligence. You're gonna temper total armor and lucky hit chance. Lucky hit chance, it's very good to have it. It's not mandatory, but that helps a lot. I will explain after why. Then on the aspect, you use a Snow Veil, give you more toughness. For the runes, I use Igni and Loom. Igni is also very rare. If you cannot find it, you can use I think it's Sem, the one that evade and give you offering. But otherwise, Igni is storing offering when it's constantly storing offering. For example, I'm gonna cast a Hydra here, and as you can see, the Hydra is here, but it doesn't spend 100% of the mana from Serpentine because, I mean, it spends 100% of the mana, but Igni and Loom instantly give the primary resource back. As you can see here, it spent the mana. If I cast again, it's gonna restore the mana. That way it's synergizing very well with our setup. If you don't have Igni, you can use Sem, but yeah, if you find those two legendary rune, like, use them, it's very good. On the glove, I have Intelligence, Maximum Life, Core Skill. In my planner, let me check quickly, what do I put? In my planner I have attack spin instead of life, but I can't find the glove, so just use whatever you can. Try to be as close as possible to the planner. Masterworking, I believe you want to masterwork everything in Core Skill, but since this is just a T1-T4 setup, not very endgame, it doesn't matter. Like, you can hit Intelligence, Core Skill, Hydra damage, those three are very fine, so we'll try to masterwork them to get that extra damage. Then pants. So the pants you can use either Tybot's Wheel or Actual Conduits. I believe that Tybot's Wheel is slightly better when you're leveling because Tybot's Wheel is gonna give you more toughness and it's gonna give you Allsat. Allsat gonna help you for the rare nodes to unlock on your Paragon board. It's like small detail, but it doesn't matter. If you wanna use Tybot's Wheel instead of Actual Conduits, make sure to have Tranquil Stone instead of Flotsy Bubble or Fractured Cord. One of these two, remove the one you want, so you can get Unstoppable. That way you can benefit from Unstoppable from Tybot's Wheel, like the 20% extra damage. You also gonna benefit from the damage reduction. And yeah, Tybot's Wheel or Actual Conduit, use the one you prefer, it doesn't matter. Actual Conduit is gonna be more damage in like the end game. If you can have a GA on the resource generation and maximum and masterwork it. Otherwise, if you don't have a GA and you don't at least masterwork once on it, it's not gonna be better than Tybot's Wheel. So with this information, up to you to choose which one you want. On the boots, I have attack reduce cooldown, very important. That's why like I teleport and I attack. As you can see, the cooldown of the evade. I put teleport enchantment and my evade here become teleport. And synergize with the implicit of the boots. Every time you're gonna attack, you're gonna press Hydra, you're gonna do anything on the skill bar, that's gonna reset the cooldown of the evade. That's gonna allow you to have more mobility and go a little bit faster. So very important. On the stats you want Intelligence, Maximum Life, Armor. You wanna temper evade cooldown reduction, lucky hit chance. And for the aspects, I think it's Wild Bolt that I put in the guide because I don't have an ultimate skill here, I forgot to change it. But yeah, gonna check that in the planner. On the weapon I wanna have a one. I prefer one-hander than two-hander. Like, I got many questions about that. The thing is, two-hander is a lot slower, it attacks slower. It can be a little bit clunky to cast your spell with a two-hander. The extra damage that you get from the two-hander is not significant, so I would rather have a quality of life build that takes you to T4 rather than have more damage that you can't even feel. As you can see in the T, it's 79. If you had a two-hander, you would not feel the damage different, so... But it was a lot more pleasant to play with a one-hander. If you really want to go with a two-hander, you go with a two-hander and you put Serpentine on it, then that's it. Then you're losing Asper Stormswell or Shredding Blade, but it's not a big deal. And yeah, very important to have on your weapon, either it's one-hander or two-hander, is having lucky hit chance to restore primary resource. It's very, very important. As you can see here. Yeah, I got 100% mana back. That's because of the lucky hit chance percent to restore primary resource. And as I said, when you have two Hydra up, you don't have much to do. But casting Hydra again, spending your mana gonna allow you to have perma uptime on ice armor and allow you to survive, have more survivability, which is very important, I think. And yeah, tempering Hydra damage and having more Hydra heads. You wanna masterwork everything on Hydra head if you can. The gem's gonna be the green one for critical strike damage. Because my build is a crit direct damage. Amulets, you wanna have on priority Primordial Binding. That's the first priority, then it's gonna be the legendary power. I believe that Primordial Binding is very important because as you're leveling using the build from T1 to T4, you can be struggling with your mana, and having more points in Primordial Binding here gonna help you a lot. That's why I would advise you to prioritize Primordial Binding rank, then the legendary power, like as close as possible to 100, then intelligence. For the Tal Rasha ring, you wanna have cooldown reduction GA if you can, then non-physical damage, and as high as possible as you can on the legendary affix. For the regular ring, I have intelligence, max life, attack speeds. I think it's not maximum life that we want, but crits or something else, but I couldn't have it, so I'm using this ring. Tempering Inferno cooldown reduction, I got a lot of questions about that. The thing is, there is nothing else to temper. I temper Infernal cooldown reduction because on the boss killer version, that you can also use to do something else, by the way. You use Inferno, so there is nothing else to do anyway, and you're gonna replace this ring by Ring of Starless Sky. So I just temper Inferno cooldown reduction because that's gonna help with the other variant. If you have a better idea or wanna temper something else, feel free to do it. The aspect gonna be Shredding Blade to give you that extra damage. And yeah, the aspect I forgot on the glove, it's the Flash Fire one that's gonna help you to deal more damage because my build is a crit damage one, direct damage crit. And finally on the focus, I think you wanna have a GA on intelligence, maximum resource. Then the last roll is supposed to be cooldown reduction that I don't have, but it doesn't matter. As you can see, my masterworking is not even right. Like, it's very hard to masterwork your gear when you are getting started going from T1 to T4, so don't overthink too much. Tempering same has the weapon, Hydra damage and more heads on Hydra. If you have more heads on Hydra, that's gonna synergize with the Hydra amulet that's gonna give you that extra damage. And Stormswell for more damage. That way it's very important to always keep your ice armor up. And yeah, for the gems, because I never remember the name, it's gonna be Scorpion Light, Idol from Below, and the Revere Horn. That's why, by the way, your Hydra are so big. It's because of I think it's Reverie. This one, after you injure or kill an enemy, your summon, which are Hydra, they are growing larger and deal 50% more damage for 4 seconds. This one is very important to get. You get them in the strong room. As you can see, like, look at how huge they become because the target get injured. So yeah, you get them from the strong room. You have to farm the strong room to get them, but yeah, that's not the topic of the video. Next, we got this, so we can look at the spellcraft power. This one, you get the Smoldering Ember that we use. You get this one by doing the quest line. You don't get it, you can't random loot it. Some of them you have to do the quest line to loot it. So this one is quest line. You use this one to execute enemy. This one to remove those boring damage resistance aura. This one's gonna allow you to teleport with Hydra. I put the catalyst on Hydra, and on Mobilistic, people got confused, but I use Cosmic Anomaly, yeah, because Cosmic Anomaly also counts as a summon, and as I explained earlier, that synergize with Nagu and Se if you have it. But yeah, that's for the Paragon power. I put the power on the Hydra, that way I can teleport with by casting Hydra. Next up, skill tree. Skill tree, this one is to unlock the next node. This one, gonna use eye shot. That's gonna ricochet on other target. That's gonna help with your lucky hit chance to restore your resource. So it's good to have. It's only 1 point. Here you get more maximum resource. That's gonna synergize with your serpentine aspect. That's why it's very important to get maximum resource. On the pants here, for example, you want to have maximum resource because that synergize with a serpentine aspect. Serpentine aspect is like core of the build. That's you have a lot of damage coming from that. Like for example, if I had 1.5, it would be 1.5 multiplied by 310 mana, more damage. That's why we take this one. This one is Hydra is now a core skill because of your amulet here. Points in teleport, teleport giving you damage reduction, teleport mobility, then you get gas cannon for damage. Ice armor, important to take shimmering ice armor to have perma uptime. Here your core skill Hydra, I use the crit version. Ice blade to have more attack speed. Attack speed affect Hydra, by the way. If you have more attack speed, your Hydra gonna attack faster. You have defensive node. Lightning spear here, lightning spear, people often ask why lightning spear. Lightning spear gonna help you apply vulnerability. On fire builds, can be tricky to apply vulnerable. Primordial binding, very important. That's gonna give you more damage, more movement speed, more mana regeneration. All you need for this build, mana shield for more toughness, familiar to give you more damage with invoked familiar. Then you have more damage node here. Almost have you have 100% crits with this build. That's section here in the. I have a note. Where is it here? If you wanna check, you have the notes. It's very easy to hit 100% critical strike chance. That's where you have Devouring Blaze here. Here you have the classic damage nodes. Again, more damage here. Evocation cooldown, and I use Essus Ferocity. Everyone else uses Combustion, but pretty happy with my build right now. And I still think that direct damage Hydra is superior to damage over time Hydra. And yeah, that's for the skill tree. Enchantment, we use Familiar Enchant and Teleport Enchant to get more that extra damage. You're gonna get extra Familiar with when you cast Ice Blade and Lightning Sphere. That's gonna help. Then next is the skill bar already explained, I believe. You have Ice Armor, Lightning Sphere, Ice Armor, Toughness. Here you get more attack speed. You also proc Tal Rasha unique power. Eye Shot against the boss or the target that don't die and get more extra damage than your big Hydra. Also your teleports if you need, like if you get crowd control, this makes you unstoppable. So for example, if you get freeze or something, you can just cast your teleport to get away and teleport enchant for the mobility. That was for the skill bar enchantment. Except Paragon, my Paragon is exactly the same as on Mobilitic. I can give you some advice to build the Paragon. Build the Paragon board. The main goal on your Paragon board is to unlock those nodes. Legendary nodes are your first priority to unlock. So what you want to do is, if you don't have a glyph, or if you have a glyph, you can just path like this here. You put your glyph, you activate your glyph, the minimum, this you can skip. Then your next priority is to do this, going here, taking the legendary nodes. Then from here, you would go here, activate this, you can probably skip this thing, to get the next legendary nodes. Then activate this one, then keep going, activate this one. Like for example, all this thing, you don't need to take. I take all the dexterity because I have extra point now. Then taking this legendary node, that's the most optimal and the most damaging thing that you can do on the Paragon board. And yeah, then you finish here, you activate this node and you instantly go to Elemental Summoner to get more damage. For the Glyph Tactician, it's a classic now, very easy. That boosts you intelligence, damage to elite, non-physical one, and also give you 15% damage every time you cast defensive skill, which you always do. Here you got Elementalist that give you 15% damage and also 10.4. Enchantment Master, very cool. Now familiar count for everything, so you get double lightning, you get 40% and 20%. That infusion here that's gonna synergize with that. Next, we got Fundamental Release. That's gonna help you with damage. Also, here I took this node. I don't know. I don't remember if it's in the planner, but I was missing some defensive nodes, resistance to all elements. I was missing some armor, so you can customize the Paragon according to what you need. And yeah, then here Pyromaniac for more damage on your Hydra. I used Extrusion because it's a direct damage crits, so it makes sense to use Destruction. Then here you get I'm getting some more life nodes for more survivability. I'm trying to get some like this one is not in the planner because it's not important, but I'm Paragon 232, so I'm trying to take those extra Paragon and rare node that I skipped. And last Elemental Summoner that gonna buff your Hydra, and Conjurer that also buff your Hydra damage. And yeah, that's it for the Paragon. For the boss killer setup, so I made a boss killer variant that's gonna help you to kill Belial and some bosses if you want to farm. I also updated the planet to add a mythic version. You have all the information here. For the mythic version, you don't use Shaco on this version. You only use Shroud of Fallset and Starless Sky. Shaco is gonna be the next version of the build, the top meta one. You have all the detail in the planner for the mythic version. For the boss killer version, I can make a showcase quickly if you want. We can go to Belial. We are now here in T4. I can try to explain the skill rotation quickly on the bosses. That might help because you might want to carry people or you might want to farm Belial. So I think I make some adjustment in the planner. You don't really have to, but that's gonna help you to get more damage. For example, I think I switch out teleport enchant because during a boss fight you don't really need to teleport. So I put Hydra enchants. Then I do some small replacements on the Horajux spell. I'm not gonna do it here. It's not like very important. I also use Inferno because Inferno gonna give you 50% more damage. Very simple. So what you're gonna do is just remove the point for Orthros because the boss, you can't freeze the boss. I mean, you can stagger him, but you are supposed to kill him before he gets staggered. Skill rotation very easy. You're just gonna lay down to Hydra, press those 3 buttons, spam your eye shot, and it's done. Then you lay down an Inferno here. You get that extra 50% damage and it's done. And then you repeat, and that's it. Repeat here, open the chests. Hopefully you get your amulet, Ancestral 1. I didn't get it. No, get that. Yeah, you get your amulet, and yeah, that's it for the boss killer version. And yeah, you have all the detail in the planner. My next video gonna probably be, I'm probably gonna cover the top meta build now. I'm mostly done with this build, as I said. There's not gonna be major changes anymore. So even if there are some minor changes, if you don't update it, it's okay. Like, it's not gonna change anything. So I'm gonna work on this next build now. And yeah, I can show you a little bit what it looks like, but so the next build that I'm gonna cover gonna be this one. This is the final version of the build. Is the HydraKuna top meta one. I'm able to speed farm the pits 79 and even higher than that in less than 2 minutes, so very efficient, very fast. If you're interested in that, stay tuned. And yeah, that's it for me today, I guess. I hope that video gonna help you to T1 to T4. and help you to transition to my endgame build. And yeah, don't forget to leave me a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.